Hey guys, I wanted to go through some pictures I've been looking into, and basically, a lot of times we'll say like, read them out and try to break down what you're seeing and reverse it and all that kind of stuff. But I think we should also read the pockets. And in a lot of these structures, they're just filled with beautiful artwork all over the place. But I just want to focus specifically on the artwork that's on the structures, and also interpret them completely separate from the official narratives, and just look at it as a piece of art that you're trying to figure out that it's a language that's being told to us from the past, and just try to decipher what we're seeing. So this type of architecture is called Atlas art architecture, and basically we see this a lot in this old world structures where you have these figures that are working as columns supporting the structure. But I think just this alone is a message that these individuals are helping hold up the society. Like the building would represent the society as a whole, and the individual, represent the individual person, but collectively they're all in unison. Like these guys all seem very, very confident, very strong. They're doing their job, and life's pretty good. These are called keratin, but it's just the female version, basically, of the same concept. So these women too, they're all in unison. They all look very satisfied, very proud, very calm. This isn't a difficult task. They're just doing their job and holding things together. This thing's melted. It's very melted. These ladies as well, and they're holding hands here. Just a lot of peace and harmony throughout the population and throughout the society as a whole is what this is telling me. So in two, they're actually just like chilling, having a conversation. He's got his leg bent, so he's not even having to put in that much effort to hold up the building. And then in between them here, we have a line, which, represents, dignity, strength, righteousness, honor, all these good attributes. So we have these guys here who are flexing, looking pretty fit, and they're holding up this building up here, but they still have enough extra energy to flex and show off their muscles. And I think they're serving as like an example or a role model to the younger generation down here. So they're looking up to them. This is a good kind of icon to have as a role model. These ladies look very nice, very pleasant, very welcoming. Their dresses are blowing in the wind, just a comfortable, breezy weather. And yeah, overall it looks like pretty good society. These guys are starting to look a little sketched out. Like, look, they're both looking opposite directions, watching their backs. And back here in the center, I brought it up here, but there's like this screaming kind of what we think of as like kind of a demonic face. And so the lion's not there anymore in this one. Now we have this screaming face, and these guys are looking a little bit more suspicious. Whatever these guys are talking about is very secretive, something they have to whisper about. You can see how he's like looking over his shoulder, trying to be very inconspicuous with their conversation here. So I think whatever was going on was something that they couldn't openly speak about, or at least some people didn't want to openly speak about it, maybe put a target on their back or something. But yeah, that's what I see with these guys. And then there's a bunch that are like this, where the bodies are twisting, they look uncomfortable, they don't know where they're supposed to look, just everything's kind of getting a little unstable. Same thing here, but this guy's actually got his arms folded and he's looking down away the opposite direction that this guy's looking. He's not looking towards this guy, and got his legs crossed too, so he's just kind of in a state of avoidance is what that says to me. And this guy's twisting and turning and trying to get comfortable. This one here can't even hold himself up anymore, much less the building, so he's grabbing hold of this guy. So now this guy's having to support not only the building but this man as well, and you can see where he's like braced himself because it's too much weight, too difficult to have to carry him and the building. Right, and so we have these guys who are looking pretty sneaky, pretty nefarious, and their bottom part of their body actually becomes like fish scales. And I think it's supposed to be referencing Bacchus, but again, we're not gonna, let's just, because really with a lot of these things, they don't know. They don't have all the answers as to what this artwork's saying, and I think all this artwork was put here for a reason. There's a message here, there's a narrative. It wasn't just decoration, especially as we go on in these slides. It doesn't make sense why they would put some of these things on the structure. So I think this might be connected to what we call Phoenicians, because you have the fish elements down here. So the fishy Phoenicians could have been the ones that brought in the disharmony, and they could have been the outsiders, basically. And so this lady is actually like hiding, like she's trying to hide within the structure, within the society, and she looks very startled and caught off guard. So this face over here looks like a clear message. He looks totally petrified, and he's got the gaping open mouth, and the eyes are just like empty sockets, so it's pretty disturbing. And then right above him you have this figure, which we're told is Pan, but again, let's throw that aside. And so you just see a man that looks harmless enough. He's kind of playing an instrument, dancing around, but then whenever you look at his leg, he actually has goat legs, so that makes him a suspicious character for me. Okay, and so we have this one, and these women are looking pretty serious, pretty stern, and they're looking out opposite directions, like they're standing post, they're keeping guard. And this guy up here is just screaming. His mouth is as open as he can get it, and it's like he's just yelling out like a warning. And this makes me think that maybe this family or the people that lived in this dwelling have already been compromised, possibly. This guy looks very untrustworthy. He's got the pointy ears. He's got this kind of filigree looking design on his head that I think is supposed to reference like ram's horns. He's got a very sneaky, mischievous grin on his face, and just an overall not as honorable as a character as we saw in some of the earlier slides. These guys here, notice too, see how the eyes, they all have like Betty Davis eyes, but it's like you can see the whites all the way around the iris. And with a lot of these, once I started really looking into all these, it's like it became this era of art where they were referencing this kind of whatever bizarre vibe was going on in the culture. And so they would have those eyes like that, those crazy eyes that, you know, if you ever see somebody with those kind of eyes, I mean, run the other way because they twist off on you anytime. But they've got the grapes on his head, referencing alcohol, I'm sure. These guys too are clearly a reference to alcohol. They've got just grapes all over on their heads, on their waist. And look at this guy's face. He looks like he's about to rape somebody. Like bad news, big time. And this guy over here has completely lost his mind, and this guy's just trying to stay awake. And look at this. Imagine seeing this at your local bank or something. Like, what the hell? So it's like this demonic entity, and he's got hooved legs again, and he's got shackles on his legs, on his arms. He's got horns, and he's got a very mischievous smile going on. But this guy's face up here is what really drew my attention, and he's just got this expression of like, what the fuck have I done? Like, look at his face. And this one is similar to the girl that we saw, you know, inside the actual walls. And so I think this is a symbol that it's now officially rooted itself into the society. Now this dark force, this disruptance of harmony is now part of the society. And I think clearly that the people were aware that things were going down, and maybe that some catastrophe was going to happen as a result. So here it's like we have a war going on between the human civilization and some kind of evil demons or something. You can see there's a body twisted up here, there's one here, and then there's one here, but it's like his head is becoming a demonic looking, where he's like he's growing fangs and stuff. And this guy here is like eating a chunk of flesh or something. It's really disturbing. And then down here there's a building, and you have a snake coming up, and then out of that there's just emerging this deformed and mutated stretch of skin that has a head on it, like a parasite or something. So look at also the way in which this is done. It's very stylized. It's like a caricature, and very crude compared to the earlier ones, which I understand like there's different levels of artistic skill sets. But this this isn't, it seems this person had skill set, but they were either in a rush to get it done, and so that's why it's not really worked out to such a beautiful perfection where they took their time, or that's part of the message, is that things are now distorted, they're out of focus, things are not beautiful, the society isn't functioning in a way where they're taking their time and doing things harmoniously, and everyone's resonating together. Instead, there's some real disturbance going on, and you actually have this creature biting and tearing at the face, and they don't know what any of these are for. I mean, whenever you look into any of these individual cases too, there'll be, stories that they, basically made up, but these are all just called grotesques. They're just grotesque, and so they're just these bizarre features that we find on structures, and I think they're for a reason. This guy here is bad news. Look, he's got the fish scales on his legs. Look at his stomach. What is going on with his stomach? He's got like breast, like he's androgynous. He's ripping this tree apart, like he's just ripping the world apart. His expression is extremely dominating, and it makes me wonder if this is connected to some kind of intruders, some invaders, the parasites, that they came from the water. They came by the water, maybe they're from like an outer realm or something. And again, they could be connected to what we call Phoenicians. Regardless, this guy here is no good. This lady here just looks completely lost. Look at her expression. It's like she's pleading and she's offering something out. She seems very, very sad and lost. Look at this, just complete delirium. Can you imagine putting this on the entryway into your dining room or something in your home? No, these were put there for a reason. And like I said, they're called grotesque is what they call them. They don't know what they mean or why the ancestors were putting these bizarre figures on their structures, but I think there's a message here. They built it out of material that would last thousands of years, and there's something that they're trying to say here, and there's a reason why they don't want us to be able to read body language and read facial expressions and cover your face up and all that bullshit, is so we're not able to read this language. Telepathy doesn't have to be that we're like sending thoughts in this like magical sci-fi way, but that we're able to pick up on people's energy and read their body language, their subtle movements. All those things are language, and all this artwork, they're also getting us away from that artwork, where we're not doing figurative artwork. Instead, it's like a Duchamp toilet in the middle of a gallery, like just total bullshit art to disconnect us from that type of language. Anyway. So here, they're like literally dragging her off. These evil entities, these just bad vibe dudes are literally dragging her away. And to me, this doesn't, with the gargoyles, they say that they're there to like ward off evil spirits, or that they're there as a reminder to Christians to push them to church. But I don't think these structures, most of these structures were churches like they tell us. I think they were for other things. They were like, power stations, power generators. And I think people lived in these homes. Big extensive families lived in these homes. And I think everybody had homes that were badass like this because they had time to do that because they weren't working 9 to 5s. They were just living. So I think these kind of gargoyle figures are showing some kind of that they're claiming it, that they're staking claim. Like these figures here are saying, this is our structure, this is our world now. They're claiming it. So this too is showing a dominance over the old world, over the lion. And not only that, there's his rib cage are showing. So there was some kind of disintegration of the society before this took place. They kind of wore them down, and then ultimately ended up dominating and claiming it for their own. Same here, and you get those Betty Davis eyes where you can see the whites all the way around the iris. Like that is never to be trusted. I mean, somebody might have some health issue going on and that's why it looks that way, but the vast majority of the time it's like connected to psychological disharmony. Look how disturbing this one is. This is a common theme that we see, these like mouth clutchers where they're like opening their mouth and like ripping at their own face, which is really disturbing. And nobody knows why they're doing that gesture, what that represents, but there's definitely something there. But also look at her feet, how they're twisted in, just she's gone completely insane. And also look how melted she is in comparison to this dude. And this one has, again, all these two, they just look like complete delirium, like the society was just going insane. Like what are they trying to tell us with this stuff? And this one actually has a little creature crawling out of its mouth, like maybe it's like some kind of parasite or a spiritual parasite. or it's like you've lost control of your ability to speak on your own, and someone else is someone else's thoughts is coming, like a possession almost. And these whatever came in and disrupted this, almost like a plague or something, they brought in whatever bad vibes they were bringing in and started breaking down the society, and swooped in like vultures and started claiming what wasn't theirs, just like we see today with the reclaiming and repurposing of these old world structures. And just like vultures, they took advantage of the good-natured, harmonious people that they sabotaged, basically. And that's why it makes me wonder too, if this whole meltdown thing was, if they were generating power and pulling energy from the ether, if these outsiders or parasites, whoever this other, the demons, whoever they were, whenever they came into the society, if they somehow weaseled their way up to the top, like we see today, weaseled their way up to the top and figured out the ins and outs of the realm, and had this grand scheme to sabotage and basically destroy the whole civilization, so they would have the knowledge and they could grow a new civilization and they could be the gods over the people. Like something like that could have happened. But look at this one, man. Totally insane. And you have like this baby eater, and the story behind this is really crazy, and I'm not even going to get into it because I'll just give you a hint. It's about a group of people that you're not allowed to talk about, that always, every single time, you end up finding this breadcrumbs that go to this group of people. And they're basically the globalists. It's that whole crew. But the story is about this, this is in Switzerland, I believe, but the story is about this sculpture, which is not on a building, but this is an old world fixture, so that's why I included it. But they say that it was basically about this group of people that came in and started basically taking over the society there, and they wore these funny little hats, and they were from an outside, they were like wanderers, just like in the Oriolinda book. There are this wandering tribe of people that come in and work their way up to the top. They're good with finances, they're sneaky and conniving, they're good entertainers, and they whisper in everyone's ears, and they find the way to the top. And it turns out they were eating the children. They were totally sickos. And so that's why this still remains. The people in that community have passed down that story and said, this is a reminder, so that we're like aware, that we stay aware of this history and that this took place, so we don't forget to watch out for these kind of people. There's other stories as well, but that one just really resonated because it's a story that we hear over and over and over. So again, you have this like demonic creature just consuming this human, and these like chimeras, this just a complete mutation of genetics. And again, this one just looking totally insane. Look at the elongated, stretched out legs, just like it's just kind of ripping apart, and just complete delirium with the mouth. And look at the melted back wall here in that little section of bricks. And so you have this very weird creature too, and look, it's got the Betty Davis eyes and his tongue sticking out, and it reminds me of like a parasite. That's what it looks like. And this isn't like some kind of mystical, beautiful, like a scarab on an Egyptian tomb or something. Like, this thing looks grotesque and disgusting, and nothing I would want by me or around me. Same with this one. It looks like a tick. Look how fat its legs. It's all out of proportion. It just looks disgusting. It looks like a disgusting parasite. And why would you put this on your place of business or your home? Or it's just bizarre. This isn't like a gargoyle where it's like to remind you to go to church or to scare off evil spirits. Like, this is a clear message that there was some kind of parasitic, whether physical or spiritual or psychological, but some kind of parasitic presence in their society, in their civilization. I wanted to include this one just because it's a child and she's standing on top of a creature that looks nice enough. It's got a very nice looking face and good expression, but it could be something deceiving her, and she's very trusting of it, and she's looking at us as if we should trust her trust in this thing, and so she thinks she's doing something virtuous by trusting this creature. And I think that's how they get at our children. They do it in a very seemingly innocent way, but it's extremely subversive and sneaky, and So I just want to bring that up. I think even back then they were probably going after the children. So anyway, that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any other comments or any input, put it in the comments. Thanks. Bye.